Hello and welcome to Peaceful Packs. I'm Lappin, your bunny friend from the valley, here to share with you some of the art from my home plane. This is part of my Bloomburrow Bundle series. First video looks at the full art lands that come with the set, my wonderful new dice that I'm very happy with, and all the other peripherals that come in the box. But for those of you who just enjoy pack opening, well, here's the video for you. So, let's jump right in and see what art we get. Got an ad card here, could be a token. Let's find out. So, first up, conduct electricity. Really striking art piece here. We see one of the otters. This was a big piece of removal, 5 mana, deals 6 damage to a target creature and 2 to a token, basically for getting rid of offspringed cards, but there was a lot of tokens in this set. Look at this otter. Big red lightning bolts like veins splitting across the front. That's Ral Zarak. In the background you see the blue thunderstorm, the natural storm compared to the one that Ral is channeling. I love the puffballs, the dandelions sort of being knocked away by Ral's striking figure. And it is a striking figure. This is a very vibrant piece of art. We have some flavor text, which we love on this channel. Give me a lightning rod, something I can use as a channel, Ral called above the mayhem. Nodding, Phineas drew a copper leaf arrow from his emptying quiver and shot. So this is a story spotlight. This is the scene where they're fighting a dragon that made its way to Bloomburrow and turned into a big nasty thunderhawk beast. So Phineas, the archer, shoots an arrow. Sorry, spoilers for the story, I suppose. At it for Ral to conduct the electricity. mtgstory.com. Dazzling Denial. This was a very interesting counter spell. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2 for 2. We see that a lot. If you control a bird, that's counter that spell unless its controller pays 4. So it gave you a reason to have birds, but it was good enough without them. So we have this gorgeous hummingbird. Some of them that we see in the set, use their colours. This is using the reflection of the light to dazzle one of the big crabs, one of the Eddy lurks, I believe they are. Basically stunning the crab by blinding it. Little tiny hummingbird. It looks like a disco ball, but if disco balls were blue and green and purple and had adorable beaks. It's got that really cute style, like it's really captured the sort of hummingbird movement. And then yes, this huge crab lurking here. A lot of people saw this card a lot of times. I mean, counter spells are really good and limited, but I think people know that it's a bird, but even just the details on the crab, like that's some phenomenal crab anatomy. It reminds me of one at the museum near my house. Maintaining brilliant plumage isn't just a statement, it's a tactic. That's right, the birds are using what they've got. We hear them talk about their battle songs, but we also hear them talking here about being beautiful. And we see this mirrored on another card. Plume Creed Escort, I think. No, that's not quite right. It's not just about being beautiful. It's important to maintain your plumage because that's what they use in battle. If you have it, you use it. Brave Kin Duo. We love the duos here. This has one of the first cards I fell in love with, and it has some of the best flavor text. I'm so excited to share it. But look at this bunny, first of all. They've got their walking staff. They are adorable. They're trekking through the forest. They've got those big eyes, those soft ears. You can sort of see the membrane through the light. They're prancing along with this little mouse. They've got their little needle sword. Like this is sort of the card that Bloomburrow is all about. Now, one drops are always very good and limited. So we know this one was a bit of a problem, but having a lot of these at common was very good. But rabbit and mouse. Flavor text here. Did you bring everything you need for the journey? The rabbit asked. Of course I did. I brought you, my dear Pinecone, the mouse replied. Your Honour, they're in love. I love so many of the duo cards in this set, and it's just like, yep, love across the valley. Oh, it's so cute. Scales of Shield. Look at that. So we have scales being shed off, made of shield, made of rock, from this gecko, from this lizard who's fighting. A lot of people, this was a nasty little combat trick. But if we look at the art on it, you see the sort of big purple eyes, the stone, it's used some magic to protect itself, but it's starting to like chip away as it's done. Or actually, as we can tell from the flavor text I'm about to show you, these are all falling onto it. So it's not shedding them. Like shedding, but backwards. The scales fall onto it like armor. Magical. See the big structure in the background. But yeah, just all of the big chunks of rock flying to form an armor around our friend here. Long Stalk Brawl. I love the motion of this. So the rabbits, they have a lot of like plants that they use as armor. So you can see it's sort of like a big celery stalk as a sword, and like the bunny in the corner has like a strawberry shield and a strawberry helmet. I mean, it's a rabbit wearing strawberries and using celery. You can see it's even looks, the sword tip looks like it's being nibbled to unseat this badger. The badger's expression of shock, because it's just been beaten by a vegetable. It's dropping its sword. They're underwater, it seems. Never actually noticed that until now, but yeah, like there's bubbles coming out of its mouth. Yeah. Useful little combat trick. We love seeing the gift mechanic. It's a very cool mechanic. I'd love to see it come back in future, where you can have a card do one thing, or make it a little bit stronger by giving your opponent a thing. So you're doing little assessments, basically. Very cool. Head of the Homestead. I've spoken about this one before. I love it to bits. I'll just do a very quick pan around the art, because that art style always gets me. We have our 7 rabbits. Sorry, we have our parent rabbit and their 7 little offspring. This one here, actually, I noticed looks so much in the blue. Looks so much like Peter Rabbit. Like, that has to be a reference, right? Interrupting a rabbit folk dinner is a most grievous offence. If you must do so, bring gifts for the little ones, or bring a shield. Long River Lurker. I love this one. Important for the frogs. They very wet frog, green mossy hands splatting down on like the sort of lichen growing on this rock. They've got that gorgeous intricate outfit you see here with lots of bright colours and browns and greens. They're wearing leaves as part of their outfit. They have gorgeous big frog eyes. They look like marbles. They look like cat's eye marbles. It's holding a dagger in its mouth. An interesting uncommon, it gives your other frogs ward. This was a big typal set, so anything that helps other things. Did you notice the little lurker frog behind them? Hiding in the background? Little leaf on its head. Helps you blend in. Maybe the Long River Lurker isn't the one in the foreground, but the one in the background. It's a frog scout. Star Charter. The bats have, hands down, the best outfits in this set. I love my cleric types. You know, seeing... Is that the Luminous Broodmoth? I love that card. It's colossal big moth. It's got those like adorable moth antennae that, you know, look like leaves glowing in the background. You see this Star Charter. They've got this... It looks like Final Fantasy style equipment, you know, like this sort of ear cuff, butterfly wings, blacks and blues and purples. Gorgeous nighttime scene here. Their outfit has a moon baked into it. I love how they give bats hands, because bats, I'll say this a lot of media does bats wrong. But Magic, I love that they just respect the animals for what they are. So you have these big leaf-shaped noses and the big fragmented ears. Like this is a proper bat anatomy. This is a real bat. Not super cute stylized, not super scary stylized. This is a bat, fluffy and perfect. But because they wanted them to fit into the world a bit more, they did give them hands where bats don't have hands, which was a stylistic choice, which does not upset me nearly as much as they could have with their bats, because, you know, we've seen bats done wrong many times. Really like the art in this card. Bats were cool. I like Orzhov, and, you know, life gain, life drain. Very fun. 3-tree Scribe. It's a frog druid. It's got a nice... You can see it's gussying up for a croak. It's got... I'm not sure if those are plates or it's meant to be its, like, underskin ears on the side of its head. The green and the black is very, very vibrant here. Very popping. Big glowing green potion. A sort of like water droplet staff, like a dewdrop with a bunch of leaves. Glowing fingertips. What's this in the background? Are they little spirits? Is it just lichen? Well, as we can tell from the flavor text here, the tree wants to give me a warning. I just need to help it communicate. So our frog friend here is speaking to the trees. They're giving messages. They're giving warnings. It just needs to help the tree along. Help translate for it. Very cool card. Starseer Mentor. We love a bat. So it's got very pronounced fingers. It's orating. It's got a finger up in the air. Fluffy, fluffy face. Huge ears with the cuffs. I love, you know, we do elves with ear cuffs all the time because why not? I love seeing the bats with it. It looks like, I mean, those are some wizard robes, right? Like big crescent moons on blue fabric, the purples and the blues below it. You can see where you can see the fabric spilling down here. Gold cuffs around the hands, a big radial sort of celestial staff, like an orrery in the background, you know, a model of the planets at night, lit up by stars, glass discs, projecting onto the roof of this. There's some lizards in the background. Or no, sorry, a lizard and a frog taking notes. It's a mentor. It's teaching. Each star is given a name befitting its grandeur. This one is called Aurochs, the Night Eater. That one is called Blinky. Classic comedy, you know, sort of like rule of three thing, but where you're like, ah, yes, big and fancy, and then small. And I love that in fantasy. It was like, oh, my name is Jimin the Thrice-Tried, Wizard of the Deeps, and my name is Billiam. Yeah, just always tickles me. Kidnap. A lot of people were passing this because people really didn't like blue in this draft, but it was just such a bomb rare. Because 4 mana, steal your opponent's thing. You can give them a card, and if you do, you get their creature tapped. If you don't give them a card, you get it tapped with 3 stun counters. So if you want to be attacking with it or using tap abilities, you're giving them a card sometimes, which is, you know, a pretty big advantage, especially on limited. But taking someone's thing, waiting for someone to play their big bomb rare, and then just going, no, my bomb rare. It's always funny. Yeah. Very cool. So this is a rat that's, I guess, stealing the dreams of a raccoon. You can see the big spirally sort of like hypnotic eyes and the purple swirls in the background as it holds a cloud with a sleeping raccoon and big stars dangling down. Like, it's a very, very stylized. Love to see it. Got sort of like Pokemon Dream Eater vibes. Very cool. Snatching your dreams. Oh, wow. So here's one of the secret guest cards. These are quite rare. This was a controversial edition because obviously it's a very cool rat card and this is a very cool rat set. And you know of the people who pull it, 3 mana, 2/2. It gets a +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield named Relentless Rats. A deck and of any number of cards named this. So you're like, oh, amazing. I'm running a rat deck. You put this in. I have 3 rats on the field. It's a 2/2. I misread the card. People assumed that This got stronger for every rat you have, but it's just every card with its name. But still, one of these, the full art here, look at that. Each of them is a bad influence on the rest. A mercenary rat band where each of them is making the other worse. You have like a cool creature here in the bottom left. Some kind of chitinous bug friend. Sort of like an earwig. I'm not quite sure. Our iconic sort of rat rogue in the center. They've got a dagger. Like, because this is already a cool card. It already exists in Magic. It makes sense to bring it in here because it's already a rat. But it's just, it just doesn't have synergy in the set unless you pull a bunch of them. And that's never going to happen at their rarity. Big mercenary lug in the back. The one here, they've got like a sort of pickaxe or maul. You know, like, it's just a bunch of rats. It's a bunch of rats who are friends and they get stronger with each other. Still, very cool card. Very nice. Special guest card. Oh, there's another wee eerie wig thing as well. Cool card. So, our land. Full Art Island. We talked about these in the previous video. I think this is springtime. It's actually clear to see this is the sun setting. I wasn't sure if it was the moon because we had this in foil. Glowy. I'm getting it wrong again. I think this is summer actually. No, it's spring because the lotuses haven't blossomed. That's how you tell. Glowy, gorgeous sunset. And our foil is Shore Up. Lovely little combat trick. You see the rat here is using those mollusk shells that we see a lot with the water dwellers here to block an incoming projectile, maybe flames. It's actually the foil treatment really does add a level of dynamic nature to the sort of combat of this. Is that all you've got? Put some muscle into it. A pun with muscle as in them being mussel shells. Yeah. Abjuration, very cool. And our token, an otter. It's an otter prowess token. A lot of things make these with otters. It's very cute art. The tokens in this set are adorable. Maybe we'll see one of the rabbit ones. It's my favorite. Big splash of water, leaping out of the water. It's got this ball of water. It's playing otter ball, a sport that I'd love to see a bit more, a little bit more attention to. Sports and Magic. I love sports and fantasy things, even if I'm not a big sport fan usually, because, you know, it's cool world building. Alright, first pack down. There was some very cool cards. I mean, getting a special guest card. Kidnap has lovely art on it. Very, very cool. So, let's pop open our next pack. Oh, we've got an art card. Love to see it. That's what we're here for. So, jump right in. Steampath Charger. A very cool lizard warlock. Very dynamic stance. Love to see it. The water and the fire, the way they intermingle in that bottom corner is very cool. Very lightly armored here. But yeah, they're charging into battle. Big flames. This is what you want in an aggro deck, you know? These were very cool. They led to some very interesting trades with, you know, it's a 2/1. When it dies, it deals 1 damage to something, and it offsprings. So you're getting this and a copy of it a lot of the time, and when they die, you get a little bit of extra damage, and so you can really force some cool trades there. Hot-footed and cold-blooded. That's a lizard. Speedy and, well, cold-blooded. That's just true of lizards. That's just a little fact there. Finch formation, we've seen before. I love this art. The rich blues and the purples and the pinks. Love how they play off each other. It's really nice. Wax Wayne Witness. A lot of whoa-whoa-whoas. WWW. So we have a bat here. Yeah, they're scrying like maybe a sensor. I'm not sure if that's something being revealed or if that is like the foci of this ritual. See the little dandelion puffs in the background? A lot of dandelions in this set. Love to see it. Big bat nose, big ears. I mean, I love that they actually care about the animals in this. It's not stylized approach that's like, well, in theory, we like a bat. But this is just loving what a bat is. Big wings, whites and blacks. Very glowy effect. Let's see what it says down here. Bat-folk clerics consider the cycle of light and darkness as a sacred allegory of life and death. Yeah. Early winter. Very dynamic. You see the mouse shielding against the winter. You see this a lot in the winter cards. You see the cute little animals all bundled up and with their hand up in front of their face. I noticed that in a lot of the lands as well. The staff here is really worth paying attention to. So it's like is there a glow bug on the staff, or is it a wooden sort of relief pretending to be a glow bug? What do you think? Big twig. Look at that fuzzy face. The frozen eyebrows. The frost built up around the wrist. Little tiny pink nose. Patchwork clothing. The climate changed and the world suffered. Yeah. I mean, in the valley in Bloomburrow, the seasons are represented by these calamity beasts. They really show you the struggle of nature. Just existing in this world is dangerous and difficult, but that doesn't mean it's not also a place of joy and beauty and food and friends and music. Another duo, tree guard duo. So this is frog and rabbit. The frog takes the point. They've got a sharp blue crystal wooden spear, patchwork armor, blues and leaves and greens, and a much taller, looks more like a hare than a rabbit. Big ears, very sort of sharp face. It's got like a cudgel or maybe a sword. They are guards. They are guarding this place together. They're blocking the whole path between each other. They're a frog rabbit, common. "You shall not pass me," croaked the frog. "Nor me," growled the rabbit. Yep. It's clear from the art style what's going on here. You know, they're guarding the tree, maybe 3-tree city, and yeah, they're working together. What's very cool about this, you know, it's so with the duo cards, it does a little bit of working in both decks. So when it enters, until end of turn, target creature you control gains vigilance and +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Rabbit decks make a lot of rabbits. They go wide. So in a rabbit deck, this is amazing. Pop it on one of your rabbits, 7 creatures in the field, it gets +7/+7 vigilance. The frog part is you bounce things. You make your creatures leave the field and come back, go back to your hand and come back. So you do this again and again and again and get its value back. Very cool. Mind Drill Assailant. So the rat here, their hand is covered in like a beetle carapace. You can see like the shell and the big sort of beetly stag face, very exaggerated, wrapped in swirling purple magic. The rat's eyes are glowing pink. It's got a pendant hanging from its neck. It's in a very active pose. It's leaping over something. I think Mind Drill strikes a really strong image. It's a warlock. It's using Threshold. It gets things in your grave, and when you have things in your grave, it gets stronger. It even surveils for you. If only you kept your secrets somewhere more secure than your delicate little skull. Ooh, so we now understand what the Mind Drill is about. You know, they're getting information from you through extraction, trepanning. They're going to burst a hole in your skull and take your information. Maybe write it down next time. Rabbit Response. We love this one. It's a bunch of like mystical, magical rabbit spirits. It's actually, a lot of people know the shape of this card, but look, so we have an archer. We have one with a big frying pan, a staff, a turnip on a stick. One of them's holding a carrot. They sort of become more fade in the background, hidden amongst the leaves. So like in this clearing, just between the grass, someone summons a whole host of enchanted, magical spirit rabbits. You never fight just one rabbit folk. They bring the strength of their burrow to battle with them. That's right. They're not alone. None of the rabbits are alone. They're very emphasized by community. There's always loads of them. There's always more of them. They mightn't be very strong, but with that many rabbits. So yeah, combat trick, instant speed. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. If you control a rabbit, scry 2. Not necessarily great for 4 mana, but in a rabbit deck where you can very quickly make 7-8 rabbits, that wins you a game if you swing. That's, with enough creatures on the field, that's a colossal card. Very cool. Wear Down. Didn't see a lot of play in this one. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. If a gift was promised, destroy 2. This wasn't a set with a ton of artifacts and enchantments to remove. Obviously, getting rid of a class card could be huge. But the fact this doesn't draw you a card, the fact that this doesn't let you destroy creatures, the fact that it's just artifact or enchantment, a lot of the time this is dead in hand. And you don't really want to be using this on food, so it didn't see a lot of play, unfortunately. Birds, fantastic birds, different outfits, all coming down on this beaver that's about to topple a tower, presumably where they're roosting. This thing is biting through the stem and is going to knock down where they're living. So they're all flying to combat together, all converging on it at once. Are those hands raised in retreat? Was this a mistake? Is it surrendering, or is it desperate to get through here before it's attacked? The bird folk guards flitted angrily. Seriously, Timbles? Again? So we already know this is not the first time this has happened. This little creature is always gnawing through these houses, and it's a problem. Their response time is clearly not fast enough because it's nearly through. The beaver has a really nice outfit. See the sort of like scales of wood and the neck crown of twigs. Very cool. I'd love to see more beavers if we go back to Bloomburrow. Burrow Guard Mentor. Now this was a phenomenal uncommon. 2 mana, trample. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. With a couple of creatures on the field, it's a 4/4 trample for 2 mana if you just have 3 more creatures. That's quite achievable in most decks. In a rabbit deck, you can quickly get this to 8/8, 9/9, and the trample on it for 2 mana? This is an out-of-control card. So we have this long-eared old rabbit wearing reds. They're a mentor, so they're teaching. So you see in the background, there's more rabbits learning from them. They've got this big sort of pinecone mace. There's a little baby mouse. It's leading them. It's got this like spiky spear. The flowers in the background in this are gorgeous too. Are they chamomile, maybe? On your paws. I've been fighting in these fields for more seasons than you've had hot dinners. Yeah. Old rabbit, rallying the troops and reminding them of their experience. Bloomburrow really emphasizes everyone brings something to the table. Everyone has value, everyone has use. And yeah, it's very cool that they can emphasize the difference, especially with all the mentor cards there to sort of signpost you in each of the archetypes. Shrike Force, very cool bird. Very simple. Flying, double strike, and vigilance. Which means that this card gets so powerful with equipment, with combat tricks. All of a sudden, you give this a few extra attack points and you can really close off games. I love the colours. It's sunset, so you have your purples and blues. You have an incredibly dynamic scene with the Shrike flying through the winds. Ooh, if you look in the back, you can see maybe a Calamity Beast shadow. Is it one of the dragons, perhaps? Chasing after these 2 Shrike as they go through the underbrush. Look at that art. The colours are phenomenal. Let's see. Something I love about vanillas, French vanillas, is you get a lot of flavor text. I've trained every one of them in aerial maneuvers, talon strikes, and dive precision. They are the top of my class, and they may surpass me one day. Quick wing, master flyer. So it's kind of like one of the mentors as well. Hive Spine Wolverine. 5 mana. No flavor text here. When it enters, choose 1. +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. It fights a creature token. Saw a few people trying to make it fight creatures. Or destroy target artifact or enchantment. Now, destroy target artifact or enchantment on an ETB, on a card, it can be a lot more useful than something like Wear Down, where it just sits in your hand if there's no artifacts or enchantments. But this, it's there if you need it. Otherwise, you have options. That's good. It wasn't one of the types in the set. It's an elemental. It's a calamity beast. It's a wolverine. So, yeah, if we look at it, so I think some people thought it was a tornado, but it's a hive. It's actually a hive of insects. It's a wolverine that is a wasp hive. Look at those wasps spilling out. You see, that's not winds whipping. That's actually the papery layers of a hive. Very cool. Eye and mouth, and then the other eye is like the sort of tripopophobic, pockmarked hive crust. You see in the foreground all our little animals scurrying away. Look at this little hedgehog. I want to see more hedgehogs as well. There's so many more animals we could be looking at. As all of these wasps fly out of there, swarms of insects are so terrifying because, like, fighting a big wolverine, at least you know you can team up, you can try and take it down. But against loads and loads and loads and loads, they have you outnumbered. Go wide and go big with this one. Shame it doesn't make insect tokens. That would have been a good flavor for this. Castral the Wind-Crested. A great reason to choose birds. Very strong. The alt art of this is phenomenal, but this one, it's very good. It's a dynamic scene. You can see like the clouds breaking with light in the background. Gorgeous painting. Look at this sort of kestrel. It's holding this gorgeous staff with like the little bird spirits floating around it. No flavor text here. Very big card. Does a lot of things. So for 5 mana, in Azorius, flying, whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, choose one. You may put a bird creature from your hand or graveyard on the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Put a +1/+1 counter on each bird you control, or draw a card. What's very cool about this, a lot of the other bird payoffs pay off other things. When something without flying enters the battlefield, or things like that. This is a bird that really supports birds. I kind of felt a little bit odd that birds was like the one type in this game that seemed to want to be around other things. But this one, in particular, makes birds really playable. We have that swamp. Talked about this one a few times now, but we love the full arts, you know? I've got quite a few of this particular season now, so that means I can start gifting it to people. Our shiny is another Hivespine Wolverine. Imagine that. 2 in 1 pack. Imagine getting this and sealed. You'd be like, oh, well, I know what the top of my curve is now. So, yeah. Same card. This one, if we look at the foiling, the wings have, when you tilt the light just right on them, very cool. That 3D effect. They put a lot of the foil in the background to make it 3D, but less so in the foreground. And the hive's foil too. And our art card. Always love to see an art card. Oh, here we go. Look at this. Wow. Little glow bugs. Red poppy. We have a possum in a tattered, patched cloak. Sort of weathered root vegetable staff. Maybe a turnip. It's a druid. It's tapping the ground. Life is springing forth. Old, kind eyes. Little dexterous mammal hands. Big tail. Oh. Phenomenal. That's Tender Wild Guide by Ellie Livingstone. Thank you so much for that, Ellie. On to our final pack. So, let's see what's inside. Another token, it looks like. So, Bonebind Orator. Squirrel Necromancy was... Tying squirrels in with Necromancy was such a cool decision. Look at this thing. The big, puffy, skunk-looking tail. We have some little skeletons here. Some in the background as well. raised from the dead by this squirrel wearing the incredible gothic outfit. The neck ruffs that are like spider silk, maybe? Or just like silver leaf. The skull on that brilliant little squirrel face. You know squirrels would be raising the dead if they could. And the purple glows around this skull. Oh, phenomenal. A great actor can breathe new life into old material. So what we have here, brilliant little pun, the squirrel in question is an orator, someone who speaks at great length, a performer. And while they are raising the dead, they are literally breathing new life into old material. Love to see it. Sun Shower Druid. This could get it. It was pretty good for a 1-drop. You know, a lot of colours would go into it, even if they weren't doing frogs, because 1 mana, +1/+1 counter and a life, as well as getting a little blocker on the field. Very cool. The frog in question is wearing gorgeous green leaves, scales at the front. You can see the light spilling through at the bottom where they look much lighter. Big glowing staff, which we always love to see here. In the middle of casting, drawing the water and the dew from the plants and the tree beneath them. Yeah, channeling the sun, channeling the water. Apprentice augurs begin their studies by predicting where the rain will fall. Even those who don't succeed derive great joy from the process. That's important, isn't it? Not only are you studying, are you learning, you're an augur, you're predicting the future. But you have fun doing it. You know, that's something that's so cool about Bloomburrow. The fun and play aspect are really emphasized. Take out the trash. I love the stylistic choice here. So, raccoons are hoarders in this set. You see this raccoon is taking things out of its hoard. A broken teapot, a bent spoon, an old banana peel starting to brown, a bent fork, cutlery, an old feather. A lot of people knew this as very good removal. 2 mana, 3 damage to something at instant speed, always good. And this is what was so good about Bloomburrow. It's a good enough card in of itself, but if you're running the right creature type, you get a bonus. If you have a raccoon, you can discard a card and draw a card. Disgusting, revolting, effective. Big stash and nasty items, well, you can just toss them at something. If you've kept that broken kettle, kept that banana, you know, if you have some rubbish in your kitchen that's gone off, if you have some broken items that you've been meaning to fix but you won't, could always just throw it at someone. Yeah, not bad. I really like the hodgepodge of items here and just the joy in this raccoon. Big old smile as they channel magic through all of these items that they're tossing away. Night Whorl Hermit. So this is cool. Those mussel shells, but they're all painted with purple swirls. They look like the kidnap. Maybe this is the kidnap rat. Glowing red eyes, a sort of masquerade mask half off the face. Those same purple eyes all over that purple outfit. It's a very striking image of a rat. Big old sword. Definitely messes with your mind with its magic. So, yeah, it's got a threshold ability. Flavor text. He etches his secrets onto the shimmering shells of mussels, saving them to share with the great snail. Well, now I need to know what the great snail is. Yeah, clearly this rat is, these purple eyes are secrets it's collecting. I'll one day share it with the great snail. Is that a calamity beast? Life Creed Duo, love this one, spoken about it before. Just the dynamic nature of the bat and the robin hanging out together. Love the flavor text again. Why are you eating upside down? Asked the bird. Why are you eating upside up? Replied the bat. Just a change in perspective. Little pointy bat teeth. Oh. Mind Drill Assailant. We opened one in this pack, in this video already. Yeah. Love the chitin. Chitin, if you're American. Moonrise Cleric, another bat. Look at that tiny, mischievous face. Big upturned leaf nose. Big pointy ears. You think... So there's like... This isn't necessarily an outfit. The membranous inside of the wings are either painted or naturally got these like galaxy swirls. The staff is spilling out these purple tendrils. This is a very dynamic piece again. Magic loves very dynamic pieces. A creature like poised for combat, implying movement. The Sunrisers have entrusted me with their life force. I intend to repay them bountifully. Bats using life force, dealing damage, healing themselves. Whenever this one attacks, gain 1 life. That enables a lot of the bat strategy. Seasoned Warren Guard. Actually didn't get too many rabbits up until this point. So this, they've used a very clever painting technique here to really sort of emphasize they're hiding in a tree. Dapple sunlight spilling through, and it's given that sort of spotty, pressed style where the whole image implies light filtering down through the trees. They've got their little dagger. They've got a bundle of carrots. All of their daggers are shaped like carrots, actually. Never underestimate what a rabbit can do with a root vegetable and some moxie. Yeah, that's right. I mean, a 1-drop uncommon that is a 1-2 and becomes a 3-2 if it attacks while you have a token. Very easy to do while you have rabbits. Watch out for those carrots. Carrots can be pointy. Persistent Marsh Stalker. This is one with a very cool threshold payoff. But also, when it attacks, it gets stronger for each rat you control. 3-1 for 2. So basically, you swing with this, they have to block, it dies. But if you have Threshold, whenever you attack with a rat, if 7 or more cards on your graveyard, you may pay 3. If you do, this comes back tapped and attacking. So you get this in your graveyard for Threshold, and then when you attack with rats, you bring it back, it goes back and forth. It becomes a big threat the more rats you have. Yeah, dynamic war scene. Rats love to swarm. You can see there's tons of rats here because, of course, this is a marshaller. It gets stronger when there's more rats attacking, leading them all into combat. You can imagine this scene with, like, a human standing atop a rock and leading others into battle, but no, with the rats you see the carapace shells, the sharp, porous nature of their swords. Everything seems a bit scrappy. Everything seems a bit forged. It's very cool. Star-forged sword. Interesting one. So it's a big, heavy sword made of starfall, made of a meteorite. So it's a piece of equipment. Quite a heavy piece of equipment. 4 mana in, 3 to equip. It gives +3/+3 to something, and it loses flying. It's so heavy that birds can use it, but they're on the ground when they do it. If you give a fish, it comes in attached to something. So it's quite a big piece of equipment. Not necessarily very good, but in a set that triggers Valiant, it can come in at the right time. Parting Gust. This is a card I needed for my main deck, so I'm very excited to have pulled one. But also, the art's just adorable. It's a rabbit, a very big looking rabbit because of the perspective. Soft, silvery whiskers, big nose, taking a tiny little mouse and just blowing them away, just catching the updraft of this rabbit's breath. They're so small and light, they're tumbling away up into the sky with a bunch of whirligig seed pods. You call them whirligigs? If you ever watch them fall from the trees, they spin around and around and around. That's how they disperse. 2 white mana. What's interesting about this card, it's a regular 2 white mana blink spell. You see a lot of those, but you can also give the opponent a tapped fish, in which case whatever you blink doesn't come back. So you can use it as a piece of removal, exile specifically at instant speed, or you can use it to bounce something. So it's slightly weaker than a lot of the 1 mana exiles. It's slightly weaker than a lot of the 2 white mana bounces. But because you can do either, you can choose a bit of versatility with it. And best of all, whatever comes back with a +1/+1 counter. So it's just a little bits of upside. Very nice little blink spell. It'll be going to my blink deck for sure. Sunspine Lynx. So many combos with this that people I've seen posted because of its very silly ability. This is one of the Calamity Beasts. It's meant to be scary. It is a lynx that represents firestorms, that represents the autumn. In the autumn in Bloomburrow, everything burns. Look at the magma, look at the flames, look at the red glowing eyes. Lynx have fantastic ears. It's so hot that it's super boiling the air above it and causing these big clouds. Like meteors of flame shooting off it into the valley. Yeah. For 4 mana, it's a 5/4. Players can't gain life. That shuts down a lot of decks. That's just a flat, you don't heal. Are you a bat player? Not anymore. Damage can't be prevented. So many of the ways you can get around damage in the game, all of a sudden, nope. Damage will stick. And finally, just because it's not cool enough on its own, when it enters, it deals damage to each player equal to the number of non-basic lands they control. Maybe 1 or 2 in Limited, not so much, but because people use so many in Commander, this is 4 mana, very easily, deal, depending on where you're on the game, 5-10 damage to everyone. Blink it a few times, you've got a real problem. There's so many damage doublers in red. Yeah, I mean, that's almost good enough on a 4 with a big body. Like, it's just doing so many things. Really cool piece of art. Look at it glow. We have a full art island. This is the springtime again, the most common variety. Just love how contented this frog is. Our foil is Sticky Tongue Sentinel. I've got one of these before. Look at that tongue. Twisting all the way out of the frame and coming back in. The flavour on this card, victory doesn't have to be close for him to taste it. Big, big tongue. And finally, our final card for this particular video is a token, and it is my favourite token in the whole set, 1/1 Rabbit. Look at this thing. Look at those big cheeks. It's got a little bit of sort of like old English or French tapestry feel to it in the style. Big, knobbly, pointy mace. Gorgeous, gorgeous lavender and daisies or maybe chamomile. Walking around, wearing like tabards, wearing a metal armor. It looks, it's ready for a joust. Big jowls and big puffy cheeks and those whiskers. And those rabbit eyes are so cool because they can be like almost all black but so expressive. This thing's adorable. And you make so many of these. You can never have too many rabbit tokens. I'm hoping to make a little rabbit deck, throw it together, and just flood the field with these because I love these tokens so much. Thank you for joining me today. Yeah, that's 3 packs of Bloomburrow. We got some really interesting cards in there, cards that I want to pop into my deck, cards I love to see, cards I got to focus on details that I didn't really get to appreciate in the past, cards we've seen many times before. It's just got such a strong design, this set. It's just all so cute, but also the world is so realised. Like, I just wish there was more story, if anything. Thank you for joining me on this trip through the valley, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.